your go-to for all things home. This is Home Answers Radio, presented by JeffBuysYourHouse.com, Valdecast Windows and Doors, and by Center Guard Plumbing. Once again, here's Roger Piper.
Your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio.
Hi, welcome to Home Answers. I'm Roger Piper. This show is all about your home. And today we're going to talk about something that's really important. And even if you haven't had a claim, an insurance claim, in a long time, everybody eventually does. And when that happens, you got to know the next steps that make sense. The insurance game has changed over the last few years. Our guest today is Dan Lights. He's the owner of Crosscom Public Adjusters. Dan, welcome to the show.
Roger, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
You bet. And you're a homeowner's advocate. Tell us exactly what a public adjuster is and how is it different when people think adjuster. A lot of people don't even know what an adjuster is until they have an insurance claim. But what's the difference between a public adjuster and an adjuster? Let's just start there.
Absolutely, Roger. There's actually three different types of adjusters in the category. One would be a company adjuster. A company adjuster works for the insurance carrier. So he works with them or for them, gets paid by them, and represents them, not the insured or the homeowner.
Okay.
Then you have a independent adjuster who basically the same thing. It's just a separate independent company, a third party, if you will. Same thing, works for them, gets paid by them, and represents them, not the homeowner. Mm-hmm. And our company, Crosscom Public Adjusters, so we're a public adjuster, meaning we don't work with the insurance companies or we don't work for them. We work for the insureds. And so we're kind of like their unpaid insurance attorney, if you will, even though we're not attorneys.
Yeah, and that makes sense. It's kind of like all of a sudden you're going to court without a lawyer, or you're going to a court and you've got a lawyer that is working for the opposition. So it's kind of wild when that happens. And there has been so much news lately about problems with insurance companies. Now, granted, there have been a lot of disasters and things like that, but that's their business. And, you know, people have talked about there's just been massive amounts of news where people file a claim. They've never filed one before. They file a claim, they're denied, or they try to lowball them, or they turn around and drop them. And people have had to find, switch companies where they haven't switched companies in 30 years. And all of a sudden, they're dropped after a small claim. So it is something that you really need to pay attention to because if you believe the media, the insurance companies are making it harder and harder and harder to process that claim for you. Is that correct, Ann? Do you believe that that's kind of the atmosphere right now?
Boy, that's absolutely what we're seeing out there, Roger, and more today to be covered with a public adjuster than ever. We actually have seen where people call us up and they say, they had a big hailstorm in the area, and a day or two later they get a postcard from their agent. Probably never sent them another postcard before, maybe a birthday, happy birthday, and saying that, hey, you need to get a new roof on or we're not going to cover you anymore. And so they call us scared of that. And so we'll look at their policy to see if they have any exclusions on the roof, meaning the roof wouldn't be covered, and they don't. So here they're trying to get ahead of the game, getting the homeowner to pay for a new roof instead of the insurance company paying for it, which is what the homeowner, the insured, has been paying them for years and years in case something like this does happen.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, there's no other word for it, is that again, the only reason you buy insurance is in case you need a claim sometime. And when you do that document and you sign on, you expect them to hold up their end of it. Do you think it's a good time for people to really kind of, especially if you're going through a renewal, is to really tear apart that homeowner's insurance and make sure that there weren't changes that you didn't know about?
Roger, I'm glad you asked that. Absolutely, because what we're seeing out there, matter of fact, even in my own homeowner's policy, it comes out, and these things are, half an inch to an inch thick. I mean, how do most homeowners even navigate through that? Well, the one thing is go to your insurance. It's called the doc page or the declaration page,
Okay.
which tells exactly what is getting covered, kind of in a nutshell. For example, it'll tell you, we've had homeowners before said, hey, my insurance company is saying I have a $2,500 deductible, but I've only been paying $1,000. Can you go after them for that? Well, when we look at the declarations page, we notice, yes, you do have a $1,000 deductible. However, on wind and hail, it's $2,500. So we've seen different changes like this happen there.
And it's really important that you do that. I know it's very easy with homeowners insurance to set it and forget it. You do it, you look at it when you get it, and then you get the bill. Okay, yeah, it went up a little bit. But, I mean, we've been hearing a lot of reports of sneaking in things like that, like changing the deductible. If you got a $1,000 deductible, for example, and then if it's for wind or hail, now it's a $4,000 deductible or $3,000. That's the kind of stuff that you really have to be careful, isn't it, Dan?
Oh, absolutely. And there's another one where I'll just talk in layman's terms because each insurance company has a different name for it. But basically, what they're going to do is, and the roofs, they're only going to pay you for what the value of the roof is currently. Meaning, let's say you have a 30-year architectural roof, and it's been up for 15 years, so the insurance company is saying, okay, it's already used 50% of its lifetime, so we're only going to pay you 50% of replacement. And that really hurts if you think about it. But most homeowners, again, would never know that, and that's just kind of what they slip in there on them.
Yeah, so, if you take anything away today is go check your policy. And the step that you go through when you have what you believe is a claim, first thing that you should do is not make the claim, not call your insurance company, but call a public adjuster. Tell us why.
Yeah, that's a great question. The reason being is we've had many calls where we send somebody out to go inspect before we put in the claim. Now, a lot of companies, I just call these the door knocking companies, that most of these people don't have a clue what they're doing except how to get a signature on a piece of paper. They don't inspect the property. They don't look for the damages. They just write paper and turn it in, and hopefully, there's damage. Well, what we do, we'll send somebody out first at no cost, no charge to the insured, and we will do an inspection just like their insurance company will do. And if we see enough valid damage there that makes sense to file the claim, then we can file the claim on the homeowner's behalf. If we don't, then we just let the homeowner know, hey, we don't see enough damage out here. We don't suggest putting in a claim.
Yeah, and that could save you a lot of headache, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you're putting in claims, and you've got the adjusters coming out. Now you got more time and more money expended by the insurance company, and they come out and you have absolutely no damages. That's not a good thing. And
also, you don't want to waste your claims either because you've got two shots, right, Dan?
Correct. Yeah. If, for example, there's enough damage out there, then we put the claim in. And so our first inspection with the insurance adjuster, 9 times out of 10, it isn't what it should be. So therefore, we'll put in what we call a supplement estimate, send it to the insurance company with documentation of photographs of the damages, and we use the same software that these insurance companies use called Xactimate. So they're reading that file just like when their own adjusters sent it to them. And then we'll ask for a reinspection where we come out with a different adjuster and meet them on the property again. And almost every time we get it in approval because we know what we're doing and we're not submitting claims when there is no valid damage.
Now, a public adjuster is licensed, right? That's a big difference. There are adjusters, but a public adjuster has to be licensed by the state, right?
Absolutely. And I don't know if I went into the 3 different types of adjusters. If not, we've got the public adjuster. Well, we've started the company adjuster. He works for example, the insurance company. Works for them, gets paid by them, represents them, not the homeowner. Second adjuster is a independent adjuster. Same thing, except they're a third party. They work for the company, they get paid by the company, and they represent the company, not the insured. So here the insured is putting in the claim thinking they're sending somebody out and working on their behalf, and actually they're not. They're working for the insurance company. So the final adjuster is the public adjuster. And public adjusters, we do not work for the insurance company. We work for the homeowner. We're documenting damage and meeting with the insurance company's adjusters on the homeowner's behalf. And that's what we do.
Yep, and that makes a difference. So when you've got a claim, you've got somebody that is working on your behalf, somebody that uses the same software insurance companies use, and then somebody who knows a lot of the adjusters in the company so that they know they probably shouldn't mess around with some homeowner who is maybe not, intelligent enough or informed enough to know what's going on. And that can make a big difference, can't it, Dan?
Oh, absolutely. And the saying we like to say is, they know that we know what they know.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, it keeps them honest.
Yep, and that's real important. Now, if you want to get a hold of Dan and his company, Crosscom Public Adjusters, and he's proud to be a Christian and conservative-based company, which is great because that means you can trust them. They're in Wheaton. They also do Northwest Indiana and southern Wisconsin, as well as Illinois. So anywhere in the area, they can do that for you. And I think the biggest thing is, from your reviews and things like that, we're talking about how honest you are. You'll go, you're not somebody knocking on doors saying, hey, I think we got a claim. And you'll come out and tell them whether they really do or not, and because you care about the homeowner. And I think that's real important. Dan Lights, Crosscom Public Adjusters. Go to crosscompublicadjusters.com or call them at 630-871-5500, 630-871-5500. First thing to do when you think you might have a claim. No harm, no foul. It's best to give them a call. Dan, thanks for being on the show.
Roger, thanks a lot for having me on the show.
You bet. It is Home Answers on AM 560, The Answer.
Your go-to for all things home.